Welcome to the Youngpreneur podcast, a show for young and aspiring entrepreneurs who want to start or scale their own business. Our podcast is dedicated to helping young people find a community and resources to start and grow their businesses. Hosted by Charlotte Enever and Linda Reed Enever, our passion is seeing the future of business grow.
Welcome to the Youngpreneur Society podcast. I am your host, Charlotte Enever, where we talk about running a business for young entrepreneurs like yourself. My guest for today's show is Mikaela Copland, the founder of Tall Poppy Management, a boutique influencer marketing agency. Thank you for joining me today, Mikaela. Would you like to give us an introduction about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm Mikaela. I'm 25 years old and I founded Tall Poppy Management. So I have a background in social media of 10 years and then influencer marketing in 4. And throughout that, I have the part-time agency, Tall Poppy Management, where we are an influencer marketing agency as well as a talent agency. And we really try to champion diverse voices. So people of color, neurodivergent, plus size, queer, all that type of identities that aren't usually represented in mainstream Australian media.
Cool. Yeah, I feel like there's so much work to do in Australian media because I remember growing up, it was like always just the same people.
100%. It's getting better, but it's just not still at the forefront of people's minds. For example, we got our non-binary model in Melbourne Fashion Week last year, which was amazing. But then for Australian Fashion Week this year, there's no plus size runways. So it's things like that where you still got to be a sample size or you've got to fit a certain stereotype to be able to be in the fashion industry, as one example, is still very much a work in progress.
But it's great that you're like trying to break down those walls and actually get people in there.
It's probably the best part of my job, just seeing everybody succeed in the way that they should succeed and not be broken down by that like tall poppy syndrome. So that's where the name comes from.
Yeah, that's a big thing in Australia. I've realized because I have a few friends in America and they're like, no, we don't. We actually support people. And I was like, wait a second.
It's very specific to Australia.
Yeah, it's so strange. So what really got you into this space of like management, talent management?
So I used to run a program at a different brand where I had like a whole bunch of influencers in an ambassador program. And I became, I don't know, in Gen Z speak, like a mother in a way. They would all come to me, even though I was with a specific brand, they'd be like, oh my God, this other brand is charging me this. What am I doing? Blah, blah, blah. And then I was up for an award as Influencer Marketing Trailblazer of the Year in 2022. And I just said to myself, if I win that against a whole bunch of other agencies, and at that time I was in-house, so I didn't have any agency resources, I was like, if I win that, then I need to go out on my own. And so I won it and I did.
That is so great.
Yeah.
Okay, what is it like running a management business?
We have to be always on in a way. It is quite exciting being able to like email people and do deals and tell the talent, oh my God, you're going to be featured on this, or you're going to really have these opportunities. But at the same time, it is quite demanding because I also think this is my part-time job as well. So I've got another part-time job and you're always got to be on emails. You do have to remind yourself that like you're not an emergency services. No one's going to die if you don't reply to an email because there are sometimes real consequences. But it's, yeah, I would say it's quite rewarding, especially when you get brands who have heard of you reaching out. But then at the same time, it can be quite taxing on your work-life balance.
Yeah, and work-life balance is really important, especially when you're working with other people and they do rely on you.
Yeah, that is the other thing. I did take a month-long trip for Japan last year and I had to put in some boundaries of, there'll be delays on my replies and things. But I think if I were to do it again, I would have put probably a few more boundaries up. But when it comes to work-life balance, I am quite strict with trying not to reply on weekends. And I like to do kind of some work on weekends where I'm not actually reaching out. It's just more like admin-y stuff on weekends sometimes. But yeah, I do quite respect other people's work-life balance and I am trying to get into a better habit of fixing mine.
That is really good though. Like you're doing so much better than other people because I know a few people that will be responding on weekends just because it's across time zones.
That is a thing. One client I have at the moment on the brand side, their main contact is in London. So there is a bit of a delay there. But with that kind of stuff, it's like, it's a little bit okay as long as you don't have, like, majority of my clients are obviously Australia. So it's every now and then I might have to respond out of hours or do a meeting, but it's not very prevalent, which is good.
Yeah, and it's not taking up your whole life, which is what work-life balance is all about.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also about doing stuff that's like work, but it's fun. Like I've nominated a few of my talent for the LGBTQIA plus Victorian awards that are in June. And so I'm like, you know what, let's all go to the awards. Like I'll comp your tickets, let's all go. Even if you don't get into, be a finalist, we can have a great time. And it's a mix of both, right? Getting to have fun, but also doing work.
Yeah, that's so great. Okay, what is your main motivation being like founding a management company?
I just saw a real gap for talent agencies to nurture those diverse voices, but give them opportunities, because you'll see a lot of either influencer or model agencies have a very similar roster. It's all like the boho mums or like the fitness bloggers. And some of the talent that I have, like, they're a niche. And so they're not being picked up because some major brands feel safer working with like the average Aussie bloke than someone who's neurodivergent and queer, right? So particularly in Australia, I just felt like there wasn't anybody coming in and nurturing these creators. And I'm still working with quite small creators in terms of micro. Like I've only got one creator coming on actually this week who's over 100K. So I'm still in that smaller space, but I just really wanted to come in and give people the power to be heard.
Yeah, and that's great, because I know on my end, I've barely seen Australians in media anywhere. And when I did hear about Australian famous people, I had no idea they were Australian, really picking up. And you're an amazing part of that, because I don't think I've actually seen an Australian influencer.
Oh, I don't know if you know that super viral TikTok video that everybody was liking and the girl was in her car. Did you see that one? She just like lip synced something in her car and it became, I think it's the most liked TikTok over that.
Yeah.
She's actually Australian, but because we don't have the Australian Creator Fund here in TikTok, she'd actually make a cent from that video, from having the biggest video in the world right now.
Wow.
Other, I guess, countries as well. It's not just our tall poppy syndrome. I feel like other countries aren't as valuing Australian creators, because why don't we have the Creator TikTok Fund? Yes, our taxes and stuff is a bit more complicated than the US, but YouTubers still get paid here. TikTokers should as well. Yeah.
We're still funny.
Yeah. I would argue that we're more funny than some other countries.
Yes. I could be a little biased about that, but I do think we are.
Exactly.
Okay, I just have a list of questions here for you, so I'm just trying
Yeah.
to pick out the right one. What advice would you have for young and aspiring influencers or talent or young entrepreneurs?
Okay, so for aspiring influencers, I think you've really got to pick a niche these days. Nobody's looking for like the all-rounder Kim Kardashian kind of things anymore. It's all about curating quite a niche audience that brands will want access to. For example, I've got two creators that are like queer musicians, and they have a really big audience of like the queer community around NARMs. Brands wanting to access that, then they have to pay, and then that's your point of difference, rather than just, another fashion kind of blogger who appeals to everybody. So I think you need to have a niche. You probably also need to have some sort of media kit. You can do some work for free to start up in terms of accepting PR packages. But when you get to, I guess, it's a substantial amount of engagement and followers, it's best to start charging so you don't undervalue yourself. And then to talent managers, it's something where you've got to find the right talent and it's just got to click, because you can't force it. And it's something where you just have to build relationships before you go into talent management. It's not really like an easy entry. Like I didn't study it at uni or anything. I did media and communications, but it's one of those funny paths that you just have to really submerge yourself in and just go in the deep end and try it. And then to entrepreneurs, it's really hard because there's not a lot of pathways in schools that allow you to learn about doing taxes and doing marketing and things. It's all just, oh, are you going to be like an artist or are you going to do sports? So you really need to go to a lot of meet and greets around, like entrepreneur meet and greets. That's like great. Getting out there and just doing any type of like free workshop that your school or uni or anything you see, like any type of like free event that you can go to it, network, just learn from people, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And you touched on something really amazing, because you do have to know your worth, especially as an influencer, because they don't talk about how much brands are paying them or how much they're getting for every brand deal or whatever they're doing, because you can't talk about that. And under most contracts, you actually can't. So I feel like it's a very isolated space where you don't know what other people are doing, but you still have to know your worth.
Yeah, that is sometimes a bit of a tricky thing, especially with management. Obviously, how it works is that we take a percentage. Now, most agencies around who are huge, they take a percentage on top, and they also take a percentage of whatever the influencer is getting. So say if they're getting $1,000, they take 20% of the grand and then 20% on top of that grand.
Oh.
Whereas I only take a percentage on top. So none of my creators ever pay me directly. I always get paid by whatever collaboration is happening. And I found that a bit more ethical than taking, especially because I have smaller creators, right? I don't really like to take from that in that respect. However, with that, having management is beneficial because you have someone who knows a bit more of the rates around. But I would say it's great to always ask for a budget beforehand. Most of the time, speaking from a brand perspective, they will give you the lower end of the budget and there's usually a bit more. And if there's not and they come back and it's not, you could decide maybe, hey, if you give me an extra product, I can do it for this budget, or like you can negotiate. Like there is a huge part of negotiation through it, and it's just on a case-by-case basis.
That's really great though. And it's good to have somebody like you helping people through that as well.
Yeah, and I feel especially for my neurodivergent creators, like the admin of even not even reaching out to a brand, but just like replying to a brand can sometimes be a barrier for them because they just don't have that middleman advocating. So that's where I'm at, where I'm the one who's also pushing them to be like, oh, it's time to sign the contract, it's time to do this. Like it's like your influencer mum, really, like who also has your back and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know from personal experience, but I have heard of some brands or even scams can get a little mean and under your skin.
Yeah.
And I suppose it's good to have that, that middleman to just be there and help you through that, I guess.
Yeah, and it's also you got to position yourself as I have a friend who's in influencer marketing, and she has a really great line. Sometimes she just comes back and goes, sorry, I don't work for free. More of a last resort when they're like really trying to be like, hey, we want 5 videos and we're going to give you like one thing that's worth $50. Another thing you can also try and weigh up is it, if it's a local business and you really want to help, that's something I do try and advocate with my creators. If they have local things or if they want to support like Aboriginal businesses and we do that for free, that's something great to do. But if it's like a really profitable business, especially if you've seen huge creators, like I once had a brand reach out saying they don't have like budget for agency fees because they don't usually work with agencies, yet last like month they'd work with Demi Lovato. So I was like, no. So you can, whether the brand is a bit more authentic. Usually ones starting out will try and do a bit more PR, and again, like up to you whether you want to support, and it's just on a case by basis of who they are and where they come from, and if you really think they have the budget or if you want to do it on good faith.
Yeah, and like with small businesses, especially local ones, it feels like a more personal connection. Like you're doing something for somebody that you know or helps you out. Somebody like in your Instagram DMs going, hey, we want to partner with you. It's okay.
Yeah, I think like it's always better to get an email and do it over email so there's a better thread. And it's also a bit more formal over email because sometimes I've had creators like start messaging me about, say I've been with a brand and reached out to a random creator and then I've been trying to email them. They keep DMing me back about random stuff. And I'm like, look, you're nice, but I'm like, it's a business capacity. Let's just go through emails, you know?
And emails can really have, because they are seen as that more professional style of talking, can really have that boundary between work and being friends.
Yeah, and it's also really just easier to organize everything, send Google links through emails. Most of the DMs are on my phone most of the time, and it's just, then I have to transfer it to my computer, and it's just a bit of a nightmare. Just keep everything to emails.
Yeah, and like you said, with emails having that thread, like you can actually see where everything happened. If anything goes wrong, it's all there.
Yeah.
Okay. How would like an influencer get in contact with you?
I have a little contact page, and if you're looking for management, I am quite boutique. So I only have 6 and then 7 this week, 7 creators on my roster because I really want to make sure I give them the proper time they deserve.
Yeah, that's good.
You'll see that there's a lot of other agencies that have like hundreds and they only have 4 people in Melbourne, and that's where disappointment I think comes from. So I try and really keep it small at the moment so I can really focus until maybe I'm full-time on those creators. So I will say, a little bit picky, but if you're looking for management, I think you just need to have, firstly, your niche, secondly, like collaborations under your belt to see what you can do. Thirdly, just like goals beyond follow growth or collaborations, like do you want to write a book? Do you want to model in Fashion Week? And then fourthly, I think just like it really depends on attitude and fitting into the roster. Like I get a few people where they haven't obviously read the website properly, and I'm like, you don't really fit into the roster. I'm not really, for example, if they were a fitness blogger and they're like really about dietitian and nutrients, I'm like, that's not really my, remit. So I think you got to really find the right management for you because not everybody will be the best fit and have the right contacts.
Yeah, and I think that is really good because like different people will have their different niche, but it's good that you can focus on the right areas like for you as well, because if you really want to get involved, it should be something that both of you are interested in, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It's something also that could like broaden my remit. So like I usually try and have it as diverse because I also don't want people competing within my agency for the same opportunities,
Yeah.
So I try and have, there's a point of difference to everybody, whether they might belong to some sort of same identity, they still have some sort of focus or niche or point of difference within that.
Yeah, and it's really great to have those goals as well. And especially as a young person, you're just floating around's a little bit fun, but like goals can really be fulfilling. But what is the goal with Tall Poppy Management? What's the big end game thing?
Oh God, okay. That's too far ahead of end game, but I can tell you I would love to be full-time by the end of the year. So we're currently taking on like brand clients, so doing influence marketing for brands. We currently work with Tixel, which is a ticket reselling platform, and they've been really fun to work with, but I would love to expand that sector while also focusing on the talent management at the same time. So I'd say like by the end of the year-ish, I would love to be full-time. But in terms of bigger goals, I would love for Tall Poppy to be like up there with Born and Bred, Bella Management, leading the way in Australian talent agencies. And while we've already walked Melbourne Fashion Festival, Melbourne Fashion Week, we are really trying to get into Australian Fashion Festival, which is actually next month. So had a few bites, but no talent is confirmed yet. I would really love a couple of them walking in that. Yeah.
That would be really good. Yeah, no idea. That was actually on next month. Gonna look into that.
Yes, in Sydney.
Yeah, cool. By the end of the year, being full-time is a really good goal, and I hope you do well with that.
Oh, thank you. I'm just about to put out a press release about what we've done in a year because it's about, like this week is Tall Poppy Management's first anniversary.
Yeah, I hope everything goes well with that because you sound like you do a really good job with everything.
Oh, it's so nice to hear. Thank you.
I had a look at your Instagram page and it looks really good.
Oh, I need to probably fix our Instagram. That's also another thing that's hard is like when you're promoting everybody else, it's actually really hard to take time to promote yourself. I probably need to do a lot of TikToks and like things like that. I would rather send emails than video myself. So
yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah.
Emails, you get to just write it out. You can look over it a few times.
Exactly. The editing process is so much easier than videos. Everything is getting so sensationalized at the moment with the videos are so edited to get people's attention because of our 10-second attention span. And I'm just like, I just want to talk. Maybe I'll just talk and get somebody else to edit it. That'd probably also work.
Yeah, that actually would because I don't think I have the patience to edit videos anymore. Just sitting there and moving the little dials across by 1 millisecond is so hard.
I agree.
My fingers don't have that much precision.
Yeah.
They're trying their best. I'm very sorry. I have to cut this short.
No, I don't feel like this was short. We covered a lot of stuff, so don't even.
We did. I have my first shift at Kmart today. And
oh my God, I saw your little Kmart thing.
Yes, thank you. I did training on Friday and now I'm on registers.
That's super fun. I hope you enjoy telling people that registers are open.
Yes, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. Awesome. Have a great day.
I would like to thank Mikaela again for joining me on this episode of the Youngpreneur Society podcast. I'm sure our listeners have taken away a lot of insights and lessons from her entrepreneurial journey story. You can check www.tallpoppymgmt.com to know more about Mikaela's work, or follow her on Instagram at tallpoppymgmt. I also want to thank our listeners for tuning into our episode, and catch us again next time.
Thank you for listening to the Youngpreneurs podcast. Like this episode? Remember to subscribe and leave us a review. And join us in the Youngpreneur Society, a community for young entrepreneurs to explore the world of business. youngpreneursociety.com